Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2010 Lexus LFA. Now this was produced between December 2010 and December 2012, with 500 units being made, 50 of which were the track-focused Nürburgring package edition. And yeah, this car was in development from the year 2000, and yeah, even the first prototype wasn't made until 2003, going through very many revisions during its development. But yeah, this final product is a superb supercar in its own right, and yeah, a lot of it is focused towards lightweightedness, as it features a carbon fibre reinforced polymer centre monocoque with aluminium front and rear subframes, an all carbon fibre body, and even titanium exhaust, all of which help make the car only weigh at 3,263 pounds. And yeah, it's even got a really good focus towards cooling and downforce in terms of the body. That horizontal line you can see there just above the badge is for cooling the engine, as well as the two vents on top. The vents there just behind the doors, they're for cooling the brakes and obviously feeding the radiators. The ducts at the bottom just behind the doors there, they're meant for cooling the titanium exhaust, because they can get very hot after a long time of being used. And yeah, it's also got a engine that is at the front but mid-mounted for better weight distribution. And yeah, it's got a formidable engine in its own right, to be honest, which, even though it is a 4.8 litre V10 with 552 horsepower and 354 pounds-feet of torque, it actually weighs less than Lexus's own 3.5 litre V6. So yeah, due to using titanium and aluminium inside it. So yeah, very lightweight, got a huge amount of power, so obviously it's quick when you combine those two elements. And yeah, it's also got a spoiler that comes up at a 50 miles an hour for a better downforce, but then it goes down as soon as you get to a high enough speed to reduce the aerodynamic drag, so it can get to its top speed. And yeah, it's even got a decent sized boot. If we can look at it, there we go. So yeah, decent sized boot, which is not the most to ask for, to be honest. So I am glad it does at least have something like that. And yeah, even though it does look like a car that should be mid-engine, like I said, it is front mid-engine, so it's a little bit different to some other supercars from around the time, whereas like Ferrari and Lamborghini and even Audi were doing mid-engine cars. This is at least a little bit different on that front. And yeah, interior is really rather nice as well, also using lightweight materials like carbon fibre, alcantara, and yeah, aluminium, as well as having some nice leather there on the go. And yeah, really rather nice interior. I know some people complain that it doesn't have cup holders, and obviously Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear struggled to get his seatbelt in, but yeah, it's still a really rather nice interior. And yeah, also has digital gauges, because the engine on this car is such a free revving engine, no turbocharging, and not being a V8 or a V12, it's just really good in terms of how it revs. To see how good though, we're going to take it out onto the open road and just see what it can do. Now, one thing that is immediately noticeable about this car is the engine noise, which is incredible. Quite frankly, I've never been a massive fan of V10 engines in general. Most of the time I don't like the sound of them, but with this, the fact that it revs to 9,000 RPM and most of the horsepower is around 7,800 RPM, I think, means that this car really does encourage you to rev the nuts off it. And yeah, you get rewarded not just with all of that power, but with that glorious noise, which really does sound like a F1 car, to be honest. And yeah, there really is no other engine I can think of out there that sounds quite as good as this. Now granted, it's not got the most amount of power from a supercar, especially compared to supercars of today, and it's certainly not quite as lightweight as, say, as McLaren cars, which yeah, are far lighter than this. But for a car from 10 years ago, it's still really rather good. And yeah, it's not all about speed and horsepower with this car. It's also about handling and immediacy, because the engine is immediate. It does not take any time to rev at all. Apparently it goes from idle to 9,000 RPM in 0.6 of a second, which is hugely fast, which is why they couldn't put analog speedometers in this car, because it's just too damn quick. And yeah, that shows in terms of its acceleration. 0 to 60 in 3.687 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.785 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 204 miles an hour, which is still fairly impressive even by today's standards. So yeah, mighty impressive from 10 years ago, and yeah, easily one of my favourite, not only Japanese cars but supercars in general, to be honest. And yeah, I'm really glad Lexus has finally made a return to the Forza series, because this car and Lexus were last featured on a Forza game in Forza Motorsport 6, which is where I was originally going to review this, as I have revisited some of the older Forza games. But then I heard that it was coming on this game, so I thought may as well save it for this, and yeah, been well worth the wait, because yeah, it handles really rather well, it's so well balanced, it's got really good brakes, it sounds glorious in terms of its engine noise, and yeah, even though it's not, like I said, the fastest of supercars, it's certainly one of the more fun cars to drive, and certainly one of the more rewarding cars to drive as well, because you really do have to be on the ball with this car, because like I said, it is immediate, not just in terms of revs but also in terms of handling and cornering and steering. So yeah, you have to be on your A game when you're driving this fast, but you get plenty out of it, not just the engine noise but just the general in terms of how well this car handles. And I also like the look of it. I know it's a car that follows form over function, but yeah, it's still a really rather good looking car. And yeah, other cars like Ferrari for instance, which also do the kind of thing where they prioritise aerodynamics and downforce and you know, cooling and like that, it's certainly better looking than those kind of cars. It's just a shame really that they're going to follow this up anytime soon, but then again they probably wouldn't make it anywhere near as good as a car, because yeah, it is practically perfect. And yeah, it's currently part of the festival playlist. You have to get 50% on the current festival playlist month to get it, and yeah, it's well worth the effort, because yeah, it's a glorious car, and hopefully it means that we get more Lexus vehicles in the future, because there are several others that I do like, plus there are some that I would like that we've never had before, so I'm kind of hopeful that we'll get some eventually. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.